All right. Well, what's up, you guys? Thank you for stopping by for another episode of People Are Terrible. We took a week hiatus, and I'm glad to be back. How you been, man?
Good, man. And if you're a video watcher, you can see I'm on a different set right now. This is what I call the bedroom. This is where the magic happens. And since my wife got pregnant, that means I watch a lot of Venture Brothers in here.
And not a lot of magic.
No, I don't know. Venture Brothers pretty magical.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. So, as always, you guys, I'm Jeremy, joined with Caleb, and I'm sure you guys knew that, but on this particular episode, we're going to do what we always do by starting off with some weird news headlines in our Worldwide Weird segment before heading to the Welcome to Florida topics from the week, where we talk about some Florida man headlines, and then each of us has brought our own topic for discussion today. We're a couple days out from Halloween, so I figured it'd be a good opportunity to maybe talk about some local urban legends. And then Caleb, you got a topic as well.
Are esports actual sports?
Well, I mean, it's right in the name. Case closed. We're done here.
We're done. Short podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, yeah. So we're going to start things off with the Worldwide Weird. And this kind of a haunted house themed episode this week because there's a bunch of kind of, attractions, not real haunted houses, the experiences that you can go to. And this particular one's in Summertown, Tennessee. The headline is Modern Haunted Houses Require Insurance and Drug Tests for Entry. So it's called the McCamey Manor Experience in Southerton, Tennessee and Huntsville, Alabama. And it requires that you're 18, insured, and pass a drug and background check. And the owner, Russ McCamey, offers thousands of dollars to anyone who completes the tour, but no one ever has. He records each tour on video for his own protection, he says. Then he posts them online, showing them quitting in humiliation. It costs nearly nothing to enter, just a bag of dog food. The website warns of physically demanding environments, but McCamey says the manor is a mental game.
I saw this guy.
Oh,
I know
did
the exact. Yeah, there's on. Have you watched Dark Tourist on Netflix?
No.
He does this.
Oh, he's the host of it?
No, the host goes to this guy's place.
Oh,
he brings the dog
I
food.
see.
Yeah, it's intense. Like it's really just like torture. Like they spit in your face and like bury you and beat you up. And
can you really consider that a mental game?
Yeah,
like a very physical game.
And they like dunk you in water, and it's weird.
So it's kind of like it's a torture experience.
And this dude does look like, he looks like his lifestyle. He's very Hills Have Eyes anyway. Like it's not really an act. Like you pull up to his double wide, which I'm not knocking on double wides, grew up in one, but you pull up to his double wide in the middle of nowhere, and this like very hillbilly dude comes out and asks you for a thing of dog food, and then like puts a ball gag in your mouth. It's very, very weird.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I was about to say he only lives in a double wide. You'd think with this kind of national notoriety that you would be doing all right, but I guess if you're charging a can of dog food,
I mean, he's probably dog food rich, but how many fucking dogs does this guy have?
That's a really good question. I mean, I would hope to think that he's like contributing it to some sort of like humane society or some shit. Obviously, he likes dogs a lot more than people. I wonder if he's ever put a dog through the test.
I wonder if he just eats the dog food. Maybe we were jumping the gun and think he likes dogs.
Absolutely. Like he employs homeless people at the fucking haunted house, and their reward or what their currency is dog food. So he's paying. Oh, that's terrible.
My mom had a friend. So like I've said on here a million times, grew up in a rough neighborhood. My mom is this like really naive woman who just like befriends everybody. So she had this friend, I won't say her name on here, but she was a crackhead, and she used to eat cat food.
What is it with
dry cat
and
food.
Cat food?
Huh?
So what is it with crackheads and cat food?
I don't know. Like dry cat food. She would eat like shit like fucking popcorn.
You tried it?
No, hell no.
I've had a piece of cat food.
How does it taste?
Like cat
Like
food.
old fish?
Yeah. It tastes like it smells for sure. And I've had wet cat food before. I've had a little dog food. I've actually had some pretty good dog food before.
Well, I've seen some dog food that just looks like beef stew.
That 100%, bro. And it almost tastes, there's like a slightly, dog food-esque taste to it. But yeah, this shit had like peas and carrots and fucking chunks of stew meat. I was like, I'll fuck
Like
with
if you were about to starve, you could Mad Max this and eat some dog food.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Yeah. So I don't know. Would you do it for the chance to win thousands of dollars? Not the dog food, but the haunted house?
Hell no. Like it would have to be way more. Like it'd have to be millions. I've seen what this guy does. No. For thousands of dollars, no.
Man, $10,000?
No.
Damn, I got to see this video. I actually didn't see anything about it ahead of time. I'm familiar with this kind of extreme haunts, though. I've always been interested in the idea of it, but I also am kind of like, I don't want to be subjected to that. Who would pay money to have such a shitty experience? I don't understand it.
Yeah, I know the host. He's like, oh, I can do it on that Dark Tourist, and he doesn't make it long at all.
And he's like a professional.
Yeah, he's like, no, I'm not doing this. It's weird. Like, it almost seems like weird torture porn, Like, this dude probably gets his rocks off, goes and beats off afterwards.
Oh, good. Well, at least somebody's enjoying it, I suppose.
Yeah.
So have you heard about the blackout experience?
No.
If you're ever just kind of perusing the internet and you want to see something interesting, it's theblackoutexperience.com. And the quote on the website is, "It's not merely a cheap trick. This production has a fairly consistent narrative, and the way it evokes dread is more psychologically perceptive than most shows on Broadway." According to the New York Times, that's just like their little pull quote. But there's almost nothing on the website at all. And from what I've gathered from it, there is like you sign up for the experience, and within a couple days, you receive this real cryptic email. So you know that it's going down, but you don't know when or why. And you've signed a waiver and you've agreed to it and you've spent the money up front. And they come to your house and they abduct you. And they take you to this fucking undisclosed location and they submit you to waterboarding and all sorts of... It sounds similar. This really like... It's not like a spooky, supernatural haunted house experience. It's more like you're being kidnapped by fucking terrorists, which is scary, but not the kind of way I want to be scared on Halloween.
No, not at all. And then here's my thing is I'm the type of person who, if you jump scare me, there's a good chance I'm going to instinctively punch you in the face. Like that's just how I react to stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know how I would react to, even if I signed up, if someone rushes up to me, like instinctually.
Yeah, that's my exact same reaction when somebody spits in my face for some reason. It's just like, whoops, somebody's getting knocked the fuck out. That would suck. I don't mind the jump scares. It's like when I go into a haunted house, I know what I'm signing up for, So the 2019 rules are you must walk through alone. Okay, so blackout must be different from the thing I was just now talking about, because this sounds more like a traditional haunted house. It says you must walk through alone, you must be over 18, you must follow all directions at all times, stay on the marked path at all times, do not touch an actor unless you're instructed to do so, do not ever speak unless you're instructed to do so, do not ever touch the walls, you'll be prompted to do certain actions, do exactly as you're told, this is for your safety, you must wear a protective mask and carry a flashlight, we'll provide both, do not bring your own, the safety word is safety, if you have an emergency while walking through and need to be escorted out, please yell the word safety as loud as you can. Stay exactly where you are, remain calm, and someone will come and get you to bring you out. If there's an action you absolutely will not do, please yell the word safety as loud as you can. Stay exactly where you are. Once safety has been called, there are no refunds and there are no other options but to leave. Please be aware you will encounter fog, strobe lights, loud sounds, complete darkness, crawling, kneeling stairs, mild restraint, water, sexual and violent situations, aggressive physical contact. So that's another thing I've seen in these.
Sexual and violent?
Yeah, they will have simulated rapes going on in the thing. When it's like actually like a nude actress being sexually assaulted by this like masked person. Yeah, it's weird.
Like I can't do that. I can't even watch that in movies.
I like, I like the exploitation genre, and I it's just there's that barrier between you and the screen, and like seeing it on a movie and realizing how fake it is, as opposed to like this. It's weird blurred lines. I mean, I guess obviously the actresses have consented to it, but it's just like, it seems like a weird thing to witness.
Yeah, I don't want anything that like could, even though it's fake, could be traumatizing. Like, I'm not into it.
Yeah, no, I get it. I'm with you on that. It seems real weird. Let's see if
also when you hear sexual, but then also you're instructed to do anything you don't want to do, and you say safety, those two combined together raises some red flags.
It's funny that you say that, and we'll go ahead and transition into the Welcome to Florida segment, because this goes right alongside of that particular concept. There's a woman at Screamageddon, or a woman in Florida, said that she claims she told Screamageddon, which was the haunted house, she told their staff that she was groped inside, and the staffers offer her beer. So the way that this works is you sign a waiver allowing to be touched by the actors, and then she got in there and the dude was feeling her up and groping her, and she reported it, and they were just kind of like, sorry about your luck, you want a beer? And she's like super upset about it and said that they were being dismissive, but she literally signed paperwork consenting to be touched. So does she have a case?
It's so hard to say. So if he actually indeed grope her, like if he's like rubbing up on her boobs in a weird sexual way, then yes, I would say, because she didn't consent to that. She consented to being touched, which being touched could be grab your shoulders, grab your arm, It
could be.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like if I consent to be such and someone grabs my dick and tugs on it, I'm going to be pissed.
It's definitely not what you're expecting. I just wonder if through the eyes of the law, but specifically what happened is the dude felt her ass. It didn't say like grabbed her titties or anything, but definitely repeatedly was grabbing her butt. And when she tried to get away, supposedly he kind of restrained her.
That sounds like part of it.
I would imagine you get a lot of creeps that work these freaking things. So, I mean, it's kind of like a fucking fair or a carnival or something,
Well, the grabbing and trying to restrain, I think, might be part of it. I don't know if she has a case there, because I don't know. They might grab people, That sounds like haunted house shit. Or it's so hard to say, because without being there, I'm like, did he do it, or did he like reach out to grab her and just accidentally grabbed a handful of ass? Because that could have happened too.
Absolutely. And I mean, there is also the possibility that she just wanted to have the national attention for a minute, but I can't imagine why you would lie about something. So like, she didn't sensationalize it all that much. It seems like a pretty realistic.
And there are creeps, man. I mean, there's a ton of them. And, it doesn't sound out of the realm of possibility. But legally, I don't know where this would fall.
So it happened inside the Blackpool prison, which I imagine is just one of the rooms within the attraction. And it says people with glow necklaces give consent to be, quote, grabbed, held back, sent into hidden cells, and removed from their group, unquote.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, you give consent to even be taken away, but not taken away and sexually assaulted.
Man, that's crazy. I don't know that I would consent to that. I mean, I, as a guy, probably would, but the idea of consenting to be held back and removed from your group, that could be fucking dangerous.
Would you want your wife consenting to that?
No.
Me either. Hell no. I mean, if she was like, I want to do it, I'd be like, no, because there's fucking weirdos out here.
Yeah. And it would just be so easy to just take advantage of. There's the anonymity of everybody wearing masks. It's not like you could pick the person out of a fucking lineup or something,
And then it's in a dark room. It gets into even me. I'm like, did he or did he accidentally grab it? Because it's literally just he said, she said. He said, she said. Where you don't have any proof either way. Like, I don't know. This girl probably is telling the truth, but maybe he reached out to grab her, and he did pick her up, and I mean, it didn't say boobs, it said but let's say picked her up to grab her and he accidentally grabbed boobs. Like that could, I'm a tall guy. If I'm grabbing a woman in the dark, who knows what I'd grab,
Absolutely. It could be so unintentional and still happen. Yes. So her quote from the actual quote unquote attack or assault is, then he leads me into a jail cell and he reaches down again for a fuller grab. down the crevice of my butt and into the cheek, and he gropes me again. Now, look, I'm not trying to be
assault.
a dick, but like, what is that? Can you break that down for me? I hear her description and I'm confused. He reaches down for a fuller grab down the crevice of my butt and into the cheek. Doesn't it sound like it would go down the cheek of my butt and into the crevice?
The crevice. I would agree.
Maybe it was just a misquote.
Yeah, I think it's a misquote. Or maybe that's what she said because, but, she said it wrong because, unless she has a hole in her ass cheek, I think it's the opposite way.
Oh, we're sorry, lady, if you're listening to the podcast.
And we're sorry if you do have an actual hole in your butt cheek.
Yes, 100%. We're not judging. She says,
it sounds like he grabbed her ass and then went into the crack. Which she didn't consent to that. If that's what happened, then fuck this guy. He needs to be literally that's assault.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a pretty clear-cut case. I just can't help but wonder. I wonder how protected they are because of that waiver.
Yeah, it probably depends on how well that's written.
And it's almost like, is that what you're fucking paying for? Back to the other. I mean, obviously, that's not what she signed up for, or that particular person. But we were just now talking about people that sign away the right to be waterboarded and fucking abducted from their houses. So who knows how extreme you want the experience to be.
I know I don't want any of this to be that extreme.
All right. Well,
I don't want anyone going into my butt crack. I'm just saying.
No. All right. Well, Fox News reports that, first of all, this may or may not be Hacks Against Hacks. He sent me the link. He wanted us to talk about it, and I don't have any proof saying that he was not the person that did this. So you're on notice, Hacks Against Hacks. Florida man arrested for allegedly sexually assaulting a stuffed Olaf at Target. A Florida man was arrested for allegedly sexually assaulting an Olaf stuffed doll of the wildly popular Frozen. Well, no shit. It happened on Tuesday. His name was Cody Meter. He was 20 years old. He's accused of placing the popular snowman on the floor and dry humping it until he ejaculated at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. He then found a stuffed unicorn that the store had and allegedly dry humped it until the cops arrived. And then the cops said that he admitted his dirty deeds to the cops, saying he always did stupid stuff like that.
At first, I thought when you said he put on the floor and humped it, it's okay, this is a dumb kid trying to be funny. But till the point where he came
to completion,
okay, no, that's when you first said it, I was okay, he's being an idiot, it's dumb, but he's a kid.
We both had the exact same reaction.
Yeah, then you're whoa, you finished?
Because the headline starts off he straight up sexually assaulted this doll. Oh, he was just dry. Oh my God, never mind.
Well, and think about how many steps there are from dry humping to erection to finish. You got to work yourself up to that.
Unless he just went in there warmed up.
He's ready to go.
What a weird thing to do. And I mean, his face is now plastered all over the internet. It would be stupid stuff if, like you said, if he wasn't actually getting off on it. The fact of the matter is, he must have had some sort of sexual gratification out of it.
It reminds me of those people in My Strange Addiction who, get aroused by balloons.
Yeah. Yeah, or that guy that stole all the rafts.
Oh yeah.
What the hell is it, man? I don't know.
So I wonder if this dude does legitimately have a doll fetish, or I would assume so.
Or it might be the exhibitionist part of it, where he gets off on people seeing him doing it.
Very, very true.
Whatever it is, it's fucking.
And just go
weird.
out there and whip it out and masturbate in public like a normal person.
So this fucks you up if you're a kid and you see this, right?
Oh yeah, I'm sure. This is. If someone did this in front of my kid, I'd beat their ass right in front of them, probably kick him in the face. Get the fuck up. At least do something. Or I'm surprised. They did the right thing. They called the cops. Weirdo.
Do you want to hump a snowman?
Have you ever seen that movie?
Yeah.
Is it any good?
Oh yeah, for sure. It's great.
Everyone talks about it. I've never seen it.
It's good, man. It's well, I like it because it kind of subverts the whole true love, Prince Charming thing in a cool way that doesn't feel super forced or like it feels organic to the story. It's a story about sisterly love, not about the true love between the princess and the prince, which I thought was cool.
I love any movie that it isn't about there isn't even a romantic lead are always my favorites.
Yeah, it's
because not every aspect of your life is about your romance.
Yeah, and Disney's gotten some fair criticism over the years for all of their stories kind of being about that girl with problems solved by fucking Prince Charming. So I like the fact that they're like, they're trying to do something to like correct that while still keeping princesses like cool for little girls.
Yeah, but being a little more modern age. I mean, these are old fairy tales, of course, are going to be antiquated. So it's kind of cool that they're, bringing them into a new age.
Trying to do something a little bit different, and probably for profit more than for.
Oh, absolutely. For Disney doesn't get out of take a shit unless it's for profit.
Yeah, man. There's been a lot of like movie stuff going on, but I feel so out of the loop. I've been watching a whole lot of Shudder the past 2, maybe 3 weeks, and I've seen the whole new Creepshow series, which is super good, and then I watched the whole new season of Channel Zero.
I haven't seen either. I've seen the original Creepshow, but I didn't even know the new one was even out.
Yeah, Greg Nicotero is like showrunner, I think, on this.
Is it on Shudder exclusively?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ooh, I need to watch. Is Shudder free or is it
$5?
No, I don't need to watch that bad.
I could just give you my login after this. It's pretty cool.
But it's not Creepshow without George A. Romero.
Yeah, that's actually.
I mean, you got Greg Nicotero. It's pretty close.
Stephen King also.
Yeah, I don't like Stephen King.
What?
Yeah.
All right, that's fine, I guess.
That's a topic for a whole other day about how I don't like Stephen King.
So this is just a hilarious mugshot. The guy is like putting on the sad clown look so much. I want to go in and like Photoshop him as one of those mimes, like the sad clown mimes. Let's see if I can send this to you real quick. Just the mugshot.
Are you doing it via Twitter or text?
Yeah, Twitter. I wish I could shoot it to you via text, but I'm on my desktop. Let's see.
Oh, okay. Let me get in here.
Do. Oh, I got my my RetroPie.
Oh, how is it?
Oh, dude, it's great. It's great. I didn't realize what a great console the Game Gear Advance and the PSP are. Those are the games I've been playing the most.
Such a good thing. Like, it sucks that Sony never really leaned into the handheld market.
Yeah, because it was like the graphics and stuff are impressive. I've been playing a Castlevania game on it. I don't know why I just now sent you the definition of sport. That's not what I was trying to do. I'm sending you the picture
that's something
right
that
now.
we'll have to. Okay.
You see that guy?
It still didn't send me anything.
Give it one.
Oh, there it goes. Oh, he is doing a sad clown face.
Yeah, like, dude, we get it. You fucked up and you're getting a mugshot taken and you know you're going to be on Florida Man, but you're laying it on a little thick. He's like that person that calls into work like, I got a cold.
I hate that. Why do people do that? I'm going to go on tangent there because it's one of my biggest pet peeves. I used to hate when I was a boss. Someone call in, I'm sick. Just like call in and be like, I'm sick, dude.
Yeah, act like a normal person. You're not dying.
No, I hate that, man. It's so annoying. I hate when I talk to someone on the phone, they do that. I don't care how. I had my throat slit open and an hour after surgery didn't talk like that.
That's fair. You're like, yeah. If anybody knows what a person who's sick in the throat sounds like.
I got it's 6 hours of surgery on my throat and I talked like this afterward.
Florida man admits to lighting firecrackers under a child's bed. He said it was a prank gone wrong. So that guy that you just saw a picture of, he lived in a backyard in a tent. And this is Crestview. I was in Crestview shooting a movie last fucking weekend. 44-year-old Matthew Morrison, the police responded to the house after an explosion woke up this little girl. The owner of the house where it happens told them that he lived in a tent out back and came inside without permission, threw a bunch of fireworks under this like 9-year-old girl's bed and fucking lit them off.
I'd kill this guy.
He was arrested and charged with burglary, child cruelty without great harm, and possession of controlled substances after they found 2 grams of meth in his pocket.
Naturally, there had to have been meth involved.
No question about it.
So he was a homeless man living in a tent?
I think...
It makes it sound like he was in their backyard, which I don't think.
That's the impression that I thought, that he probably knows the homeowners.
That's what it sounds like, doesn't it?
Family, friends... They let him stay in the tent out back. He came inside without permission. It's the without permission part that makes me think that he must have been like a roommate.
Here's the thing: if it never let a meth head stay in your yard in a tent. That's life lesson number 1.
Yeah, and if you got a 9-year-old kid, I mean, you got to take some of the freaking accountability for this. Like, yeah, that's really fucked up that he did that, but you need to pick your friends better.
That's my thing. Is like. And I don't care who it is, it could be my flesh and blood. If they're a meth head and I have a kid and they need a place to stay, sorry, dude, figure it out.
Yeah, the last thing we want is you coming in the house in the middle of the night and fucking lighting off a bunch of black cats underneath the bed.
It could have been way worse. You know, we don't know what this guy's capable of. Obviously, he's not stable.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And I mean, even just this specific incident could have gone a lot worse if the explosives fucking lit the bed on fire.
Yeah, very true.
Dude, talk about freaking traumatic.
Oh, yeah.
Waking up in the middle of the night to explosions going off in your room and some crazy meth head looking like a fucking mime.
I would just be like, he literally does look like that famous sad clown painting.
Yeah, like Emmett. Like, what was his name? Emmett.
What is his name?
Emmett the Clown. Let's see.
Emmett Smith the Clown.
Emmett Smith, Pensacola Treasure. Emmett Kelly. Emmett Smith the Clown. Yeah, I don't know. I wonder what kind of prank that he was trying to pull that went wrong. Like, I was just trying to prank her and blow up firecrackers under her bed, and it happened. And it went horribly wrong. Like, what did you think was going to fucking happen?
Yeah, it sounds like it went horribly right.
Yeah. Yeah, pulled it off splendidly.
Yeah, I'm just like, that sounds like you got the exact intended outcome.
Yeah, I would love to hear his side of the story, just for the laughs. You know what I mean?
I would love to just hear audio, like recorded audio of this guy telling what his intentions were.
So why did you set off those firecrackers under the girl's bed?
Yeah, I think they did know him because the without permission part, and that it did sound like he was in their backyard.
Yeah, like living back there in a tent.
In a tent.
Damn.
The fuck is that? Why would you do that?
It's our mother-in-law suite. It's like a little 4-person tent out back.
The guest house. He's coming over and lives in the guest house.
Oh, shit. All right.
I think we need to start calling the tent a Florida guest house.
What do you mean camping? You don't like camping? That's a good living situation for some people.
I know. He's like, this is glamping for me.
Okay, last Florida Man headline before we switch over into the topics. And every week we need at least one alligator story. This one is a shirtless Florida man removes 9-foot alligator from swimming pool. And it is such a classic picture. He looks like he is like king of the world. He has slayed this dragon. And to his Instagram post, he shares the image of him triumphantly holding this 8 foot 8 inch gator over his head like he's got it in the torture rack.
It sounds like Turtle Man. Do you remember Turtle Man?
No.
I think we talked about him once before. The guy who was just some redneck who would go to people's houses and like wrestle alligators and pythons and stuff because he wanted to humanely remove them without any weapons. Just the best reality show of all time.
Dude, this son of a bitch has no teeth.
Of course he doesn't. So what? Florida Man, gator, pull.
Oh, if you look on Twitter, I sent you.
Oh, did you send it already?
I sent you the picture, not the article. I can shoot that.
That's all I need. Florida Man. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a big gator, man.
That is just a brilliant freaking picture. So kind of what you said about the humanely thing is his name's Paul Bedard, and he goes into the pool wearing a bandana, goggles, and a snug swimsuit while removing an 8-foot 8-inch gator from a Parkland, Florida pool. The gator had walked through the screen and into the pool. I haven't had a good-sized gator in a swimming pool in probably a year, so I was kind of looking forward to it when I got the call. These are actually fun because the gator can't go anywhere and the water's almost always crystal clear. So all I have to do is jump in the water, play around with him till he's tired, and I can either hold his mouth shut or put a snare on it and tape him up. If he's super energetic, I can get him tired enough where I can just pick him up without the tape and carry him out of the yard and then tape him once I get there. He also says that this was I think he said it was really chill or really... He calls it something pretty funny.
He's like, it was just a chill gator.
Yeah.
And he says gator. He doesn't say alligator. In my head, that's what he just says.
Oh, yeah.
It's
for
a gator.
Sure. It's a gator. Yeah. This guy was super mellow. Didn't really give me a hard time at all. But, dude, I wouldn't, and you've probably heard me say before, I've always seen gators as being fairly docile, just kind of like big ass lazy lizards, but I'm not going into a pool with one. There's no fucking way.
I sent you a picture of who he reminds me of, this guy from this TV show.
That's the guy who I said has no teeth.
Yeah.
I saw pictures of him, man. He's got one tooth.
This guy did. I thought you had another picture of this dude with no teeth.
Yeah, the Call of the Wild Man guy. I got to watch an episode of that show now because he looks intense.
PETA shut it down. It's no longer on air.
PETA shut it down because it actually wasn't humane to them?
Yeah. I mean, he does do some crazy stuff. He does this literally grab a raccoon and just grab it by the neck and try to fight with it, and it cuts him all up. It's pretty amazing. It's probably my favorite reality show of all time.
You know what catfish noodling is?
Catfish noodling?
Uh-huh.
That sounds like where you pick up someone online and dick slap them.
That is definition 2 in the Merriam-Webster dictionary. Definition 1 is when you go into a body of fresh water and you find a log that's under the river or under the lake, and you stick your hand under the log and you start wiggling your fingers around like a lure. And the catfish, gigantic fucking catfish, sees it and thinks it's a worm and will just lock up on your arm, and you pull your arm out of the water and you got this fucking 70-pound catfish attached to it.
I would just be worried it would be not a catfish that would be in there.
Yeah, a snapping turtle. Anything else, dude, 100%. That's what I was thinking is I see all these pictures of this turtle man with these gigantic snapping turtles that would probably take your fucking fingers off, dude.
Yeah, no, I would not mess with one of those. Those will absolutely take your finger off like it's nothing.
I don't even care, man. Just the idea of having a gigantic catfish bite onto my arm. That's scary as fuck.
I mean, I know they have teeth, but I'm assuming it hurts.
It's got to a little bit, dude. Catfish noodling. There was a whole show on one of those we make fun of redneck shows.
I do remember somebody doing this on a show. Now that you bring it up, putting their arm in the water and it goes halfway up their arm.
Yeah. They're elbow deep in catfish gullet. I can't believe I've never seen
catfish noodling, and then snapping turtle came up.
It must be a reasonable threat. But then, dude, there's these super hot Instagram girls that have big following for being country girls who also fish.
Apparently it's illegal in Missouri.
Missouri?
Yeah, it's illegal. Catfish noodling.
I can imagine it probably has something to do with the freaking risks associated with it, because nobody cares about a catfish.
This article, perils of noodling.
What are the dangers? What does it say?
It's just a bunch of pictures of people with their fingers cut off.
Oh, no.
So I'm going to put it, it's pretty graphic, but it's...
Well, I mean, that makes sense.
And they show a snapping turtle. It's yep.
That's what's going to happen to you.
Noodling. I didn't even know this was a thing. Do they do this in Florida?
I'm sure. I'm sure they do. The biggest kind of areas that I know for it are Mississippi and Louisiana. But I'm sure they do it in Florida. We got good fishing here, though,
noodling
man.
gone wrong. Catfish noodler loses hand.
What was it? A snapping turtle that got him?
I don't know. It's a YouTube video. I'm turning down the volume. I'm very curious. Now I got to see if this is a real thing or what's going on. Hog Daddy Blue destroys my wrist.
Damn.
Let's see if that goes on. I think it might just be a catfish. Holy crap! He doesn't lose his hand, but it's just a catfish, and his wrist is just tore up. Like, I mean, he's not going to lose his hand, but
it's not in good shape, huh?
He says, someone says, "Did he cut you?" He says, "Hell yeah, he just turned me into hamburger meat, dude." Someone says, "Oh, he's peeing. Oh man, he's peeing. You scared the piss out of him, Heath."
So I guess catfish piss. I didn't realize you'd be able to see it.
Apparently.
Not venom. Oh, okay. So all catfish have barbs or spines. When they're young, they produce venom. But as they get older, they stop producing venom. Because I know that I've caught catfish before, in particular saltwater catfish, on accident. And you got to be careful when you're taking them off the line or off the hook, because they have like almost like a stingray barb on their tail. It's like a fucking couple inch long stinger. And if it hits you with it, it's got some serious poisons in it that'll mess you up.
I did not know that. I've eaten catfish, but that's it.
Yeah, I'm not.
Delicious.
You like them?
Oh yeah, any fish. I'm pretty much any fish I'll eat.
I was talking to somebody the other day about how I really do think Gulf seafood's like some of the best in the world.
I bet it is. The best I've had was Seattle. Seattle was next level too.
Oh yeah, see, and that place is like world renowned for it as well. I'd love to go to the fish market up there.
It's as good as everyone says it is. I bet you Florida's amazing too.
Yeah, it is. It is. There's like you might have had grouper or snapper or mahi.
I've had snapper and mahi.
Yeah, there's some really good fish out there that you just don't find everywhere. Like people eat cod a lot of places on the coast, like on the ocean sides, but like I don't know, I don't like that stuff near as much as a lot of the Gulf seafood.
Not a shocker. Denver and New Mexico, not great seafood.
No, not a shocker at all. I mean, you're so landlocked and
awful. I didn't even realize it was awful until I had fresh seafood. And it ruined it for me. It made me hate seafood now. Like here.
I've had good rainbow trout out of the freshwater in Colorado.
Yeah, that's it. You have to get freshwater, fresh fish, which is the only thing. But like seafood, it's done.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine. All right, what else? I guess that's going to go ahead and wrap up the Welcome to Florida segment. And we're going to go ahead and kick off the weekly topics. Caleb, I've been doing a little bit of research on yours. You want to start it off?
So, as you know, like League of Legends and everything is huge. It's drawing huge crowds. I, for some reason, don't really like the term esport. This is not a knock against the game itself, not a knock against people watching it, enjoying it. I just don't know if it actually qualifies as a technical sport. To me, and I don't know what definition you sent me, but I even look at them. To me, a sport would have to have some sort of physicality. That's like the definition of a sport. And there is no physicality. Having a controller or keyboard is not a physicality. To me, I would not classify this as a sport. And it kind of, in a weird way, bothers me. I don't even like sports, but in a weird way, I'm like, can we just call it something else? Because it's not a sport. Yeah. Where do you land on it?
Yeah, I mean, it really did get the gears turning this morning. I've assumed that both of us were going to be on the pro esports side of the debate. I don't know why. I assumed that, and then I started to do any research. And again, this isn't to be diminutive about what they are. You can't knock the fact that they are incredibly popular, incredibly successful. They sell out arenas. Yeah, most definitely. And I mean, if you're comparing it as far as how much it grosses annually, yeah, like it can compete with other sports in that way. If you talk about how many spectators there are, it can compete with huge sports in that way. But I looked up the definition of sport, which obviously I knew the definition of sport, but just to get the clarity of what it actually is in the dictionary, and it says. Excuse me. It says an activity involving physical exertion and skill in which an individual or team competes against another or others for entertainment. So backing it up a little bit, an activity involving physical exertion. Do esports involve physical exertion?
No. Do you? I don't consider that. I mean, yes, there's physicality in the same way texting has physicality.
Yeah. That's the one part, because if we move on from there, it takes physical exertion and skill in which an individual or team competes against another or others for entertainment. So everything about that definition, except for the physical exertion part.
It's, to me, like you said, it's not diminishing it. Like, it's kind of when like people say Avatar: The Last Airbender is anime. I'm like, well, no, it's not. People get really mad. I'm like, no, I'm not cutting it down. It's just by definition not anime. That's kind of how I feel with esports. Not cutting it down, but by definition, it's not a sport. But then there are other things that are considered sports. I've heard people call chess a sport. You know, poker.
Yeah.
You know, and so I guess maybe if we're considering those, but I wouldn't consider those sports either.
It's interesting because, like, if you compete in the Olympics for it, then it kind of has to be a sport. And if I'm not mistaken, pool is an Olympic. Is pool an Olympic game?
I don't know.
Let me look and see before I say something stupid. Maybe billiards.
Well, my thing that cracks me up is, even if that's true, if they did math tournaments in the Olympics, does that make math a sport? You know, like, it's not.
Yeah, right. That's I don't see that pool is an Olympic sport, but I do know that people have called it that. But yeah, you're right. Like, I don't understand what if we refer to it as a sport, does that somehow legitimize it more? Like, what is the hopes for calling it a sport? Like, what does that change?
I think that's exactly what it is. I think it's trying to legitimize it. And like, hey, we're not a bunch of nerds sitting around play video games. And as a nerd, I'm like, own that shit. Be it. You know? Like, you can call it a league even, that's fine. Like, you know, e-leagues, or, you know what I mean? Professional gaming. I have no problem with that term either. You know, but I feel like gaming does this weird thing where it's looking for acceptance from other forms of entertainment. And that bugs the shit out of me. Like, gaming is super profitable. It's very mainstream. It doesn't need acceptance from sports. It doesn't need acceptance from film. Like, you always hear, oh, that's a great game. We should make it into a movie so we can like get some artistic notoriety. No, we don't need that. You know, just like I don't like when movies be made into video games. 9 times out of 10, they're trash too. I feel like gaming is in the stage, because it is so young, where it's still battling the stigma. I mean, I ran into it before when people find out, they're like, you're in your 30s and you play video games. I'm like, yeah, I'm the target demographic. You are correct. That's most people.
Yeah.
You know? But there's still a huge chunk of society who still thinks that. And shockingly, within our own age, which blows my mind. I thought that it would be older people who'd be like, oh, you play games? And I feel like that's kind of the same reason why they want it to be called a sport, because they don't want to be seen as a bunch of nerds around their computer tapping keyboards, but that's what it is, and that's fine.
So my wife is not a gamer, and that's fine. Like, you don't have to be a gamer. That's totally cool.
My wife doesn't either.
What kind of bothers me about that situation is that she kind of looks at it as like it's like something that almost like stunted people do, or some shit like that. I'm not trying to put words in her mouth, but I get the impression that she kind of feels like it's something for guys in their 30s who like just are kind of clinging on to the being a kid thing. But that said, she didn't grow up with consoles in her house. It wasn't like a normalized thing, like I'm sure it was in your house, like it was in my house, where I grew up playing video games, and like we're the first generation of parents who play video games with their kids, you know? And that, I think that's super cool. And I think that, as far as credibility and social acceptance, I think in most circles, it's already there. I think most people are aware of that. Like it's pretty fucking normal. On the sports end of it, like when I look at League of Legends, for those of you guys that don't know, I play League of Legends and I play Fortnite. And those are pretty much the only two games I play because they're free to play. And they're super competitive. There's always people online playing. So, and I play a little bit of Heroes of the Storm and some Hearthstone as well, but like all free to play games. And I really like it for that reason. You can just drop in and play with people all over the place. And I feel like League of Legends in particular has a very football vibe to it.
I've never even seen a match, to be completely honest. I've seen like Overwatch tournaments, but never League.
So League is like it's a kind of eagle eye view of the map. It's called a MOBA, a massive online battle arena, and you've got 5 players on each team. Each character has their own very specific role and different attributes to round out your team. Like you have a character that's a support character that typically is going to be able to heal. They're tanky, so they can take a lot of damage, so that they can get in front of your what are the terms? You're the person who basically goes in and does the kill shots, because that character is normally glassy, but they've got really strong ranged attacks. So anyways, everybody's got a very specific role. And if you don't have a player in each position, then your team's not balanced and you're not going to win the game. And then like what you mentioned about leagues, like they have team names, they've got their own like insignia or freaking logos, like they're drafting players. There's so many elements that are clearly borrowed from professional sports that you feel the vibe. But fundamentally, it comes back to that thing of like, is it a physical activity? Is hand-eye coordination a physical activity?
I mean, everything's a physical activity.
Everything is.
Everything is. Although our podcast right now is physical. You've sent me stuff and you've typed on that. I don't think hits that check mark. I mean, even if we take it one step farther, there's Madden tournaments, which is literally football, that we sent it. That's still not the same as the actual sport to me.
Do you think that most athletes are on the side of fuck calling video games sports?
I would assume they are. And honestly, if I were an athlete, which if my body tells you anything, I'm clearly not, I would probably be offended. I'm like, I'm not saying that these people don't try, they don't train. These people are incredibly talented.
That's another part of it. They do train like athletes.
Yeah, they absolutely do. But if I were an athlete, I'm a fighter, I'm a football player, the amount of regimented stuff that I have to do, I watch my diet, I make sure I eat right, I exercise, I cut weight, I put my body through physical trauma. Your body gets destroyed after years and years of doing sports.
Yeah.
I would be like, come on, dude, you're not on the same level as me. We don't do the same thing.
Mathletes.
What was that?
Mathletes.
Mathletes? That's
a thing that people say, right?
Is that a thing?
I don't know what exactly they do, but I think they do competitions where they are like, what about spelling bees? Are they?
Yeah, you're standing up there in front of a microphone. There's physicality.
A mathlete is a person who competes in mathematics competitions on any level or age. So is a mathlete a sport? Mathlete a sport?
I would say no, absolutely not. That being said, I think that's incredible. The human mind's awesome. I just am one of these weird people where I feel like people throw out definitions and just like, oh, I don't like it because of this, so I'm going to change the definition. I'm like, no, definitions mean something. You can use a different terminology.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it can be its own thing and still be valid.
Yeah, I don't think it would be any different if it were called something else. Like speaking of, with Victoria, so my wife was the same way about like video games. Like she didn't really understand it until she met me. And then I sat down and too bad I didn't have a PS4. I played The Last of Us with her front to back. She just watched it. And it completely changed her view of gaming.
Really?
Yeah. She goes, oh my God. She goes, it's just a different medium. I'm like, yep. She goes, it's just art. And I'm like, yes. It's just interactive art.
Yeah, I would have to get Victoria to engage that much to be able to get her to actually watch it. And that's the thing is like, I guess I didn't round off that point. It's like, you don't have to be a gamer to play games, you know, like you can casually do stuff. Like I wouldn't classify myself as a gamer. Like I might spend, I don't know, 2 to 3 hours a week playing video games. And, you know, I used to play a lot more, but I don't spend a lot of my time that way. But I've been trying to get Victoria to just like drop in and play a couple rounds of Mario Kart with me or just like something. And I think it's like just the idea of it that she's a little bit like, she just doesn't care for it.
It's probably because it's Mario Kart, because that's what most people think of as like Mario Kart, like, oh, a dumb toy, you know, which I always say Nintendo is like a toy company. You know, they make toys. And that's why I think something with a like killer story that she could even, I wish you had a PS4 because I'd say Last of Us, because just the opening scene alone, even if that's all she watched was the opening scene, like the opening 15 minutes, she'd go, oh, okay, I get it. That's what my wife did.
I can do that. Like, I can put that shit on YouTube. I'm sure there's like a Let's Play.
Oh, yeah.
Or just the cut scenes put together or something, you know?
Yeah, like the opening scene of gameplay, like Shoei was like, oh, and then we just beat Detroit Become Human together. Like it's just more you choose your own adventure. And I actually think that's on PC now, Detroit Become Human. And I essentially was like, what do you want to do in this scenario? What do you want to do in this scenario? And by the end of it, she was like, this is the best game I've ever played.
Oh, that's awesome. I just got one called Contagium, which is another Epic game that you can get for free. And it's like a HP Lovecraft kind of point and click adventure in a way.
I love old point and clicks.
Yeah, man, it's super cool. It's super cool. So I've been doing a little bit more gaming lately, but I'm not good at League of Legends. I'm not good at Fortnite, any of that shit. But Fortnite Season 2 just now launched, or Chapter 2. Actually, I think there's like a season every 2 months. So there's been several seasons. But
I heard they're on like season like 11 or something like that. It's something ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy. But the new map is beautiful. You can fish on the game now. There's actual NPCs running around. So I actually got a couple of kills on the last game I played, which, I mean, that's the whole point of the game. But that just shows how bad I suck. That like I finally am getting kills now that there's NPCs in it. So I just get destroyed.
Yeah, I never tried it. And League's one of those things. Honestly, the most people I know who play League and Fortnite are people who are like, I'm not really a gamer, but I play those.
Yeah. They're just super accessible, you know?
I would definitely consider myself a gamer. I got a PSVR, a Switch, and 2 PS4s.
Why do you have 2 PS4s?
Because I hated the way the streaming worked on all my other devices, so we got a PS4 for the bedroom.
All right, well...
just to stream.
I'll pay shipping if you just want to, like, send me one of those.
Well, pretty soon, I will have a PS5 when that comes out, which means my PS4 Pro will probably go in the bedroom.
That's badass, dude. What makes it a Pro? The storage?
It's just the beefier version that can output 4K.
Oh, so do you have a bunch of 4K media? Do you have the Netflix 4K?
I did, but honestly, it was for my monthly. I'm like, it's not really that big of a difference, you know?
Well, when you're streaming, it's hard to get true 4K, I'd imagine, with it like dropping frames and all that shit, unless you have like a crazy good internet.
It's weird. On Vudu, I can tell a difference, which is weird because it's streaming as well. I can definitely tell a difference. When I'm buying a movie, I'll pay now they're the same price. I'll buy it in 4K. But when streaming on Netflix, I mean, it is better, but it's not. I think it's like extra $5 a month, and I'm like, it's not worth that.
Right. I still am not like so. Like I've got an older TV. I'm actually planning on getting one on Black Friday here coming up pretty soon. There's one in particular I'm looking at. It's a 4K 56-inch television for like $500. I can't remember who makes it. It's a fucking good TV, but you can get a badass TV for yeah, absolutely.
At the time it was like $2,000,
and it's like a crazy nice TV.
Yeah, and then it's 65 inch, and then here's our bedroom TV. You can see this is our giant bedroom TV.
Yeah, that's nice. That's nice.
Like it's 50 inches in our bedroom because that was our living room when I bought it. That's what I do is I like transfer. So now in the baby's room, there's a 46-inch TV mounted on the wall.
There you go.
So final word: is esport a sport?
Nah. Sorry, guys. If you have a compelling argument, we would actually love to hear it. I mean, I'm open to having my mind changed. It's just after doing a little bit of research, I went from of course it's an esport to I don't know if I can really consider it an esport.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was too. I've always had a problem with the term because right away I was like, no, it's not.
Well, on my topic, I want to discuss some local urban legends, and I found a couple from Pensacola as well as two in particular from Denver that I think are really fascinating, and I'm curious if you've heard about them. So let's go ahead and we'll start with this first one, is the legend of Spook Hill. And this is according to the sign in this place in Central Florida. And the story goes, if you take your vehicle down to the bottom of this hill and you park it and you turn your lights off, a mysterious force will pull your vehicle backwards up the hill. Have you ever heard a variation of that story?
Never heard anything like that.
So, growing up as a young kid, I had a neighbor, and of all things, his name was Tom Cruise. I don't know if
nice.
His last name was spelled the same way, but
it's probably C-R-U-Z. But.
Yeah, something like that. And he was a little bit older than us, and I remember him telling us where there was this hill in our neighborhood that if you park down at the bottom of it and you turn your lights off, a mysterious presence would pull it up the hill backwards. So I don't know if he was told the story that that's where it was at, if he embellished the story because he'd heard about Spook Hill and he just wanted to tell the neighborhood kids that it was near where they live. But that's kind of the thing about urban legends. It's like there's this small kernel of the truth, and then it gets distorted like that game of telephone when you're in elementary school and told over and over so that like some of it remains intact, but there's so many different variations of it. So, go ahead.
I was going to say, yeah, that's usually what it is. It's exactly that. It's a telephone game. There might be a kernel of truth. A lot of them there isn't any, but, it's someone made something up and it was enough to stick.
This sign says, ages ago, an Indian town on Lake Wales Lake was plagued with raids by a huge gator. The town's great warrior chief and the gator were killed in a final battle that created the huge swampy depression nearby. The chief was buried on its north side. Later, pioneer haulers coming from the old army trail atop the ridge above found their horses laboring here at the foot of the ridge and called it Spook Hill. Is it the gator seeking revenge or the chief protecting his land? Stop car on white line, place in neutral, and let it roll back. So it sounds like that sounds like Native American lore.
That sounds like Native American, which I'm sure back home in New Mexico, I mean, we have the highest Native American population per capita in the U.S. So I'm sure there's some Native American stories from back home.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Never pulling a car up a hill, but
these are the kind of things like if it were a real phenomenon, there would be YouTube videos of the shit.
There'd be scientists down there if this was really going on.
It's interesting, though, that it's been able to persist. If there is something that causes the cars to do it, I mean, maybe it's just weird topography on the actual layout of the ground. I don't know. Maybe there's some weird magnetic fucking pull from some other. But chances are pretty slim, like that it's a Indian chief and a alligator. Like that's just a weird.
It's probably
story.
Never even happened. People will say I felt something.
Mm-hmm.
But it's probably never happened once.
Yeah, you're probably right. Let's see. Let me pull that up real quick. Has anyone ever?
There's going to be some shitty CG car going up a hill.
Yeah, not very.
Or just a car in reverse with the audio taken out.
Long promoted gravity defying hill where you can park at the bottom and it roll uphill. It's been mentioned in all kinds of publications, including the Wall Street Journal. Curiosity Seekers and Lake Wells put it all on the map. However, beware that local pranksters often turn these signs so they point in opposite directions. I came upon the directional sign. I followed the instructions, and within a second, my car was sliding uphill, or at least that's what it seemed to be doing. On weekends, there can be many as 15 or 20 cars waiting to experience the crazy gravity, several folk stories, and how it was discovered. So what do geologists say about Spook Hill? I received the following response. There are no mysterious forces at work in Spook Hill. It's an illusion and can be verified with a simple carpenter's level. That's what I thought it was. It looks like a hill going one direction, but because of the topography, like it's an elevated hill. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense to me.
Yeah, like even though it's a dip, it's on top of a hill, so I can visualize it, but it's a little bit harder to explain. But it's almost like if your hill was going, or if your road was going up a hill, and then it had a slight dip halfway up it, but it's still going up that incline. You know, that's what I figured it was. That's interesting. It means at least there's some reason why there's hysteria behind it, or at least some reason to justify why people feel like that's happened.
Yeah, I just love humans are so weird. I mean, I know the stuff goes for a long way, but you think in modern times, like no one would believe this shit. They would do exactly what we would do. Oh yeah, there's probably something like that. But instead they'll jump to, no, it's a fucking ghost gator pulling you up a hill.
Yeah, man, we want so bad to be able to cling on to this idea that there's something, you know, something else going on after death. And I understand that. I get it. It just is like the simple explanation is usually the correct explanation.
Usually.
Almost always.
Unless it happens in Florida, then maybe not the simplest explanation.
So another one that's right here in Pensacola is the Pensacola Lighthouse. And lighthouses a lot of times are said to be haunted. And I think there's just the idea of like the isolation, the fact that lighthouse keepers tend to live in these places on their own for long periods of time. There's just something like kind of eerie about it. In fact, there's that new movie called The Lighthouse coming up that's directed by the guy that directed The Witch. It's got Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe in it. It looks really good.
I haven't seen the trailer. I've just seen the poster and I was interested.
Yeah, I have a feeling. Did you like The Witch?
Never saw it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I like this director, man. I have a feeling it's going to be good and weird. So Travel Channel and Sci-Fi's Ghost Hunters have both been to the Pensacola Lighthouse. They say it's one of the most haunted lighthouses in America. The historic 1869 Keeper's Quarter, and see for yourself. So apparently there have been a couple of crimes there, including a wife hacking her husband into pieces, and you know, happened hundreds of years ago. And every Halloween you can go and take the ghost tour there, and they'll tell you the couple of haunted experiences that have happened there. But, you know, we've talked before, and I don't really, you know, believe in ghosts. As interesting as I think it is, and as fun as it is to talk about, and I watch documentaries about like trying to find something to hold on to. But it just seems like a tourist attraction more than anything else. And that's why I was kind of trying to look for urban legends that weren't specifically ghost related.
Yeah, because ghosts are very tourist trap now.
Yeah, and it just, like, anything that's old, somebody somewhere is going to say that shit's haunted.
We had this place back home called the Luna Mansion, and it was this old mansion, and it, of course, was haunted, but it was turned into a restaurant now, you know?
Yeah.
And so they would, like, do the ghost tour, and I remember being a kid and going, and they're like, as you walk up the stairs, sometimes if you're lucky, the rocking chair in the corner will rock, and we're walking up, and of course we're one of the lucky ones.
Yeah,
the chair rocks. You know, and I remember even as a kid going like there has to be a reason. So the people started walking off, and I'm like jumping on the like hitting the floor next to it, and sure enough, there was like a loose board.
Yeah,
you know, that moved it, and I'm like, okay, so that's what it is. When you walk up the stairs, you hit this loose board, and it kind of vibrates it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. If somebody was like, would you stay in this supposedly haunted house by yourself for the night? I would probably not do it.
I would if there was money involved, 100% do it.
What kind of money?
That's an easy, like, give me $2,000, I'll do it.
Yeah, I mean, for that amount of money, I would have to try it. I'm pretty broke.
I mean, it's $2,000.
I'd have to give it a shot and hope for the best.
$2,000 to sleep uncomfortably for one night.
Yeah. Or not.
I got a cell phone. I'll just, you know.
What if you have to sign the waiver where they're like, we're taking your cell phone, we're locking you in the house by yourself. Good luck.
Well, I want to be locked in, but they can take my cell phone. I don't want to be locked in anywhere.
No, let's see. So there was the Pensacola Lighthouse. There was the Spook Hill. There's a cemetery up the road called Coon Hill that apparently is super haunted. I've never been there, but people love to go, and they say when you walk along there's like a cinder block fence around the exterior of it, and if you walk along that fence, you'll get knocked off into the cemetery. And people have said that that's happened. There's been a bunch of those like ghost hunter shows that came and did that as well.
What was I watching? Oh, the Dana White. So Dana White from UFC has a travel show where he travels and goes to places. And him, Matt Serra, and Dean Thomas go to a haunted house where there's and ghost hunters come. It's the funniest shit. Matt Serra starts even like making fun of it and even gets the ghost hunters to crack because you could tell they know it's all bullshit.
Yeah.
Like they start laughing at how ridiculous it all sounds.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah, that's bad.
Where do they go?
I don't know. Somewhere in LA, I think.
I wonder if it's the Cecil Hotel.
Might have been, but it was they were like, you can hear, and it was doing this gargled thing. And that Sarah's like, get fucking closer to the microphone. We can't hear you.
That's like the first Paranormal Activity. That dude is just like straight up taunting the ghost because he thinks it's all ridiculous. And then the shit goes down. You ever seen that?
Yeah. No, I haven't.
It's pretty good.
I don't get really into ghost stuff, very rarely.
So Bloody Mary. You know Bloody Mary? Did y'all have that?
Yeah, Bloody Mary. Have you done it?
No, never done it. Never done it. I mean, I'm sure that it's pretty safe.
Done it a ton of times as a kid.
What did you do? Like, what was the ritual according to what you grew up hearing?
If I remember, you go into a mirror. It's been a long time, but you go into a mirror and you say your name or something like that with the lights off. Mm-hmm. I believe that's what it is. So
mine was you go into the bathroom, you turn the lights off, and you say, Bloody Mary, I killed your baby 5 times, and then you spin around and she shows up behind you in the mirror. But I've heard all sorts of variations of it. I've heard like Bloody Mary, I did something, like the sayings are slightly different according to different tellings of the story. The amount of times you say her name is different in different tellings of the story, and then whether or not you spin around afterwards. So like this is one that's just kind of like permeated American folklore.
It's everywhere. Like everyone has done it, I think, or heard of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's an interesting one because it seems to be in America, in my experience, it seems to be the most retold and most well-known of urban legends.
For me, back home, growing up in New Mexico, our version essentially like is La Llorona is kind of is like what we talk about back home.
So like, I'm familiar with La Llorona, and I know there was a movie that came out about her, but like, what was the story when you were growing up?
So it was it's the weeping woman essentially that she down by the ditch. I think God, I should know this. I've heard it a billion times, but like she goes, because it is an actual New Mexico folklore, which I don't know if the movie takes place out there, but it was somewhere that like she drowned her baby in the river or something, and then or her kid died in the ditch, and then would go at nights if you were down by the ditch, she would go crying and she would grab you thinking that like you were her kids.
Yeah. I think it's actually a Mexican story originally, which
is
makes
it
sense.
Originally?
Mm-hmm. That it would be in New Mexico, and she bid her children farewell. Angry and hurt, took her children to a river and drowned them in a blind rage. Then she realized what she'd done, searched for them, but the river had already carried them away. Days later, she was found dead and had committed the ultimate sin, murder and suicide. Challenged at the gates of heaven for the whereabouts of her children, she's not permitted to enter the afterlife until she finds them. So that explains she's going looking for other children that she thinks look like hers or whatever.
And essentially all it is to keep kids from playing in the ditch, because we get flash floods and they do take kids out. You hear all the time back home, kids will be in the ditch and it'll rain or snow up in the mountains. Sunny day, ton of water will just come down randomly, like a wall of water, take kids out.
Interesting. Yeah,
so
I
that's
think
what
a lot of times urban legends they serve that function. Like you said, it's a way for village elders to instill fear into children to prevent them from doing things. It's almost like how God's always watching. Like this is a way to keep kids to act right by using some sort of fable or some sort of scary entity that's going to see them, even if no parents or adults are around.
Well, I know when I was a little kid, I wouldn't go by a ditch because of it. I was afraid of her.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah, because like we grew up hearing it. It was beaten to our head that she will get you.
So, kind of transitioning over to Denver, and I'm so shocked that I didn't know this existed. I'm shocked that you've never brought this up to me. I'm just, the whole situation is fucking wild, and it's all about Blucifer.
What the hell is Blucifer?
Blucifer is a 32-foot sculpture of a seemingly bloodthirsty bronco.
I do know about this.
Who was he was killed. The artist, this was his last work. He was killed by the statue during its construction after a 9,000-pound piece of the structure fell onto him and severed an artery. Naturally, many Denver residents believe the beast to be cursed and to have protested its presence at the Denver International Airport. But that's just one of many pieces to the Denver Airport International conspiracy theory puzzle. So did you know that there's a huge conspiracy surrounding the DIA?
About the underground tunnels and all that?
Yes, dude.
I heard about this like a month ago, and I was like, dude, there's no underground tunnels.
So, all right, first of all, have you seen a picture of Blucifer?
I've driven past it a billion times.
It's crazy looking, right?
It's huge, too.
And it's got red glowing eyes.
It has red glowing eyes, and at night, the eyes definitely glow.
It's got a huge veiny cock and balls and a very distinct anus.
Does it?
Too.
I never noticed that because I was just always driving by it on the freeway.
Dude, its back end is more detailed than it is so weird. It's got gigantic veins and a big puckered fucking chocolate starfish. Like it's gross looking, and it doesn't look like anything that an airport would want on its property.
Because like it's on there's a giant freeway that leads directly to DIA, and it's just in between it. Like we have a freeway that just goes straight to our airport.
Yeah, and that's where it's at, just on this big lonely road.
Yeah, where there's like nothing. It's not in Denver. Like our airport is not in Denver. It's so far away.
That's so weird to me, man. It just looks so strange. And I don't know that its name is not Blucifer. Its name is the Blue Mustang, but the locals call it Blucifer.
It is kind of demonic looking though, like the actual I've never seen it because I've just seen it from driving past it at 70 miles an hour. Yeah. I didn't realize it was all veiny and disturbing looking.
It really is. It
is very demonic looking. Why would they it is a weird way to design it.
Yeah, it's like pretty edgy freaking art to have as like a centerpiece for a town like Denver, it seems like.
Yeah. I do see that is definitely an asshole. And then like veins coming out from those are some veins. If they're coming from your scrot and they're wrapping around your thighs.
Why are they so intense looking?
I don't know, man. That
has got some serious like it reminds me of like, those gross the gross insert shots on Ren and Stimpy.
Yes, 100%.
It's not even quite animated. It's just like it'll cut to that shot where there's like flies swarming around their dirty fucking teeth or some shit.
So it's funny because the DIA right now, they're under construction. And the last time I went, they had a bunch of signs up that like, shush, we're building underground tunnels and stuff.
So they're playing it up now.
Yeah. Like here's one. I don't know if you can see, it says, yes, Denver's got secrets, and it has a picture of an alien.
Yes. Yeah, dude. So it's 5 conspiracy theories from Mental Floss surrounding the Denver airport. The runway shape. Although one of the underlying themes of the various conspiracy theories regarding the Denver International Airport holds that Stapleton was a fine airport and didn't need to be replaced, there is an inarguable point. The runways at Stapleton were not smartly laid out. The parallel runways were too close together for safe landing in bad weather, which happened around 150 days out of the year, and cut the number of arrivals an hour from 80 to 36. The airport doesn't have the same problem, but it has something far more nefarious, a shape that many people have noticed to look curiously like a swastika. So have you heard that?
No, I haven't heard that.
If you look at the shape of the runways from the air, you can distinctly see the swastika in it.
Well, that actually, I wouldn't be shocked. So we have a town out here that's named after a KKK member.
Really?
Yeah, Stapleton.
Stapleton's named after a Klansman, huh?
Yeah. So, and apparently, at one point in time, like they shut down Colfax. This is in like the 60s and had a big Klan march down Main Street.
I didn't know the Klan was big in Colorado.
I didn't either until I moved here. And I still, in Colorado, people think I'm weird for saying it. It's always white people who say it's not racist. I'm like, well, my black wife kind of feels like it is.
Yeah.
You know, it may not be racist to you because you're a white person who walks around in Whiteyville and never gets a weird look, because why would you?
Yeah.
But there is some of this, like, which is weird because it's super liberal, super woke, but there's still this weird like racism thing. It's weird.
I don't like those progressives, the ones that live in their little white bubble and talk about how racist they're not, but they like hate poor people.
My neighborhood, they have like Black Lives Matter signs everywhere. My wife's like one of 3 black people in our entire neighborhood.
And ironically, y'all don't have one of the fucking
no
signs.
We have all love is like, there's one that says like love is love, no person's illegal, Black Lives Matter, and I'm like, find me a Mexican or a black person in our neighborhood, you know. Like come on, it's really easy for you to talk when they're all in their quote bad part of town.
Yeah 100%. So apparently Stapleton was the former airport.
Yeah, it was a former airport that was named after Klansmen. So that's why when all this with the swastika, I'm like, I could maybe see that being a little true.
They say the airport bears a series of quote unquote strange markings on its floors that some people believe to symbolize a new strain of hepatitis that could be used in biological warfare. But in reality, most of the symbols are taken from the Navajo language or are pulled from the periodic table of elements. So no new strain of hepatitis being engineered under the tunnels in the international airport.
So this one, there's this picture. It says on the construction, it says, what's happening behind this wall? A, gargoyle breeding grounds. B, a top secret Freemason meeting. C, an improved airport experience. And there's tons of these. It says cool new hangouts. It says a cool new place to cool new areas to hang out, or Area 52. It says under construction or underground tunnels. There's like tons of these everywhere in the DIA.
So yeah, interesting. I'd never heard anything about this. I think it's so interesting that it's something that just totally flew by under the radar to me. It reminds me of the movie Us.
It is in the movie. What? Oh, remind you of the movie Us?
Yeah, the movie Us is all about government installations
and underground tunnels.
Uh-huh.
The dumbest ending of any movie in the last 15 years.
But man, that version, that like orchestral version of 5 on it still made it worth it. It's so good.
It is so, every time, so beautifully directed with so many plot holes that just make no sense.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. No debate there. It's like he didn't have to answer those questions, and when he did, it was like, oh, you really didn't have to answer those questions.
You're like, oh man, you just ruined it. I was so into that movie, and I'm like, oh, thanks for ruining it. Where people are in these things eating rabbits that someone's breeding, and they mimic you. So I don't know how they're traveling from state to state. You know, this makes no sense.
So after the blue Mustang's head fell off and killed the artist, do you think it's weird that they went ahead and put the head back up and then put the sculpture up, or do you think that was like respectful?
I think it's respectful. If I'm a guy doing an art, that thing better go up.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about you?
No, 100%. I feel the same way. It's like I can see though, because you know, like certain hotels don't have 13th floors and all of that kind of stuff. I can see how you might be a superstitious person and say like, well, maybe there's a reason why this happened. Maybe the testicles and the red glowing eyes are too much for people to handle, especially now that it's got this darkness to it. But I'm into it, man. I think it's fucking crazy. It is the weirdest sculpture I've ever seen in a public place before.
So I had someone once tell me that the reason there's so many car accidents in Denver is because of that statue, because it's like it's possessing the roads and this. I'm like, have you driven through Denver? It's because people don't know how to fucking merge and slam on their brakes. Yeah. That's why there's so many car deaths in the city.
So people do try to attribute it to that.
Oh yeah, I've heard someone. I was like, you're an idiot. I'm sorry. And they were also a really bad driver. You know, why take personal accountability when you can blame an inanimate object?
Yeah, that's weird. Shit, the gigantic dictator stereotype is oppressing everybody again. I guess there's a painting inside the Denver airport. That's a pretty cool looking DIA Art 1. It looks like almost like a Nazi with a machine gun with a bayonet on the end of it and a sword in the other hand. and a rainbow
Really?
behind it. Yeah, it's what's the name of the painting? Shit, the Gigantic Dictator. I guess his name is Shit. Yeah, I want to go to Denver, man. I like the idea of it. A lot of the things that you think are like annoying about it, I'm like, oh, it's kind of quirky and cool.
Yeah, I love Denver. Like, I'm not planning on leaving, but there are things that bug the shit out of me. So, what's it called? Shit, the what?
Shit, the Gigantic Dictator. Let's see. Shit, painting, art, DIA.
Oh, I do see the swastika thing. That does look like a swastika.
It straight up does. But I mean, there's other things running parallel to it. So like, it's not just a swastika. You know what I mean?
Oh, I do see that. I've seen that painting.
It's pretty cool. Is that what it's called? Shit.
So apparently people think that was predicting Trump's America. Oh my God. This is the stuff I hate about Denver.
I can't find the name of the painting though. I don't know that it has but it looks like it's part of a larger mural because on that side there's that, and then Freedom Wins Again. It looks like that same rainbow is going around in the back, and then there's like all of these different nationalities and groups of peoples together.
Yeah.
In the fallen dictator in front of them. I just now noticed that too. That's it's kind of cool.
It's a cool painting.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's see. Any other urban legends that we can touch on? Do you know of any other like popular national ones that people talk about? I mean, obviously there's Bigfoot.
There's another one that everyone talks about that I don't remember. Oh, God. I know. That's probably about it. I never really got into urban legends. Even as a kid, I was a grumpy old man who, I was like, this doesn't make sense, you guys.
Let's see.
Popular urban legends. Let me Google it. I'm sure there's more.
Yeah, I want American ones too. Let's see. Oh, scary urban legends, creepiest urban legends in every state. I'm not going to go through all of them. Let's see what the Florida one is, and then we'll see what the Colorado Riverdale Road, why it's creepy. 11 horrifying miles Riverdale Road near Thornton, Colorado is crammed with enough horrifying legends to bring the bravest paranormal investigator to his knees. From a ghastly runner attacking parked cars on Joggers Hill to various demons and even a phantom Camaro revving up and down the winding road, but the gates of hell seem to be the epicenter. The physical iron gates are now gone, but what remains is the partial shell of an old mansion where Madman supposedly buried his wife and children alive. Left behind are the barren, charred plot of land and white-clad woman who wanders the area, whatever.
Typical urban legend, some ghost.
Shit. Oh, yeah, and then Florida's, and I failed to bring it up, but it's the skunk ape. It's our version of Bigfoot.
The skunk ape?
Yeah. Apparently popularized in the 60s and 70s, right when Bigfoot mania was at its biggest, and it was a really stinky Bigfoot that smelled the way that it did because it was living in the swamps among alligators. That's what they say.
Okay, I'm gonna see what New Mexico is. I'm gonna see what their number one thing is. My hometown. Because a lot of the Colorado stuff, I'm like, I've only been here a couple of years, so I'm like, I haven't heard a lot of these.
Yeah, and I'm looking for
La Maya Hora, which translates to evil hour. La Maya Hora.
The one I'm surprised you didn't bring up from New Mexico is a very popular one, the Chupacabra.
So that's one of those things that I hear people outside of New Mexico talk about it more than I hear people from New Mexico.
Really?
Yeah, like it's like everyone's like, oh, you're urban legend. I'm like, I've never heard anyone talk about this my entire life. Like, which is so weird.
The first sighting happened in 95 in Puerto Rico, and an eyewitness accounts of the goat sucker have been steady trope across Central America. New Mexico in particular has been the source of some notable chupacabra sightings. As recently as this summer, a treasure hunter claimed he found a genuine chupacabra skull in Las Vegas. So what's interesting about the chupacabra is like with certain entities like Bigfoot or the skunk ape or the Loch Ness monster, there's kind of a consensus about what the thing looks like.
Yeah.
The chupacabra might be like a lizard insect monster that stands up on its hind legs, or it might be a hairless dog. It just like depends on who's talking about it, but they always have just completely different descriptions of it.
So those, like, even though those urban legends, and we cover Bigfoot and stuff a lot, those are the things that, yeah, didn't happen. But if any of these were going to happen, some weird animal we haven't discovered seems the most likely.
Way more likely than the supernatural stuff.
Yeah.
And I mean, they've turned up some weird artifacts as far as quote unquote chupacabras, but it's like what you said. It's almost just like remains of animals that probably had the mange that make them look slightly deformed, you know?
And that's the thing is, I would assume it's just a deformed animal, a deformed dog or something.
Lots of the pictures that, you know, when you type in chupacabra and then you go to images, it is tons of dead animals. And they all look like they have the mange.
Really?
Yeah, dude. Like almost all of them are some dead. It looks like a coyote or a dog that's got no fur on it, and people are sighting them and just like they look weird, but they also don't look like a monster by any means.
Yeah, they just look like some sort of disgusting animal.
Yeah. But then the goat sucker interpretation of it, it's got like a long tongue or like a long straw tooth that it sinks into goats and kills them.
Yeah, these just look like decaying dogs and stuff.
Right?
Yeah, like, or with mange or hairless dogs, or these they just look like dogs, like you said, with a mange or something.
Yeah,
they look diseased.
I'm yet to find anything super compelling outside of the realm of like what we already kind of know and accept. That said, you know, science is a crazy thing, and I wouldn't be surprised to find some crazy life outside of the world. But at this point, I feel like we've found a lot of it, short of maybe some unusual animals underwater. But I even suspect that none of them are like big, gigantic sea creatures. You know,
I think there are definitely stuff underwater that we haven't discovered, but I would agree. I don't think they're giant, terrifying monsters. Yeah, these are all just dead dogs.
Yeah. It's pretty bold to sit there and say they're chupacabras when I'm sure there are so many biologists that would just look at it and be like, no, that's actually a coyote or a...
Well, not even that. So many normal people. Like, if I were to walk by this on the side of the road, I wouldn't be like, oh my God, I found a chupacabra.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a jump.
Yeah. Goat suck. Chupa to suck. Cabra, goat. So, yeah, goat sucker. If you guys have any cool urban legends from where you are currently, let us know down in the comments section. And if you have different variations of any of the urban legends that we've talked about, or you heard it slightly different growing up, let us know that as well. We love to hear from you guys. And it's almost Halloween by the time we release this video. So if you guys celebrate, go out and have a good time. Be careful and drink a beer for me. And other than that, Caleb, anything before we wrap it up?
Nothing. I think we covered everything.
Yeah. I don't
we
think
beat it until it was dead and turned into a chupacabra.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for coming by. If you enjoyed the video, do us a favor. Take a second to click that thumbs up button. And until next time, and on behalf of both of us, be terrible. Bye-bye.
So we lay down blankets and she sleeps on the living room floor.
Got a question, man. Are you familiar with the term palate?
With the term palate, like when you're eating something palate, or like when you're...
So I think it's a very Southern thing. When you lay out bedding on a floor, it's referred to as a pallet, but I think only here, like in the South.
Like, where does that come from? Like, does it mean like a pallet, like that you put... You know, you can like a pallet jack.
Yeah. Like you transfer mulch on. I don't know.
Or like a painting pallet, or
that I don't know. I don't know if we can figure this out. But Victoria was like, yeah, that's she said she'd never heard that term until she and I got together. And then another very Southern thing that I didn't realize was a Southern thing is that I put my pans into the oven.
Yeah, no, I don't do that either.
Yeah, I don't know what, I never thought that was a thing.
I mean, it makes sense. It's a good way to save some space. We actually could do it here. We're in a tiny little place.
I wouldn't be surprised to find out that the origins of that was because you didn't want to keep food that low to the ground. And not that there should be food on your clean pans, but you know what I mean? Like keeping it elevated a little bit more from the ground.
It makes sense from a space saving thing too. Like we could use an extra cabinet, and essentially, you're not using it that often.
Yeah. Yeah, Victoria hates it. She'll go to preheat the oven, and then she'll open it up, and there's fucking hot pans in there. And
yeah, I would do it all the time.
I thought that was a normal thing. It's weird. You never realize like how much your specific upbringing is like. You just accept it as normal, and then come to find out I'm the only fucking weirdo doing it.
Well, that's like it's things, and there's a bunch of like stupid slang back home, because I'm from the hood, and like smell me, I hate it. Instead of saying feel me, people go smell me.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'm like, really? No, that's the stupidest thing. Or hit the light is a thing that people think's weird.
Hit the light.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
How like turn off the light, like hit the light.
Oh yeah. See, these things make sense to me.
See, people think it's super weird, and I'm like, all right, let's hit the light.
They're like, you don't really hit the light.
Like, yeah, and I'm like, you know what you mean. You know?
Yeah, it's like saying cool and having some wise guy being like, it's actually not cool. Shut the fuck up.
It's like some of the stuff I feel like is, but we do say, and I catch myself, instead of saying flag, we say flag, and instead of bag, we say bag.
Oh yeah, see, I'll fuck with you for that.
Like I do it all the time.
I'm sure I've got a couple country ass words that I say. I mean, y'all has become like pretty standard across the board. There was a time when that was specifically a Southern thing, but I think everybody says y'all now.
We say y'all sometimes. We say all y'all, actually.
All y'all. That's just redundant.
Yeah, all y'all. What all y'all doing? Then something that I didn't know was weird, and see if this is something you guys say. I moved out here. The term "right quick."
Yeah, no, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, I'm like, can you do that right quick? What's that? And I'm like, come on. Yeah. No, I've never heard that. I'm like, you've never heard right quick? No one in your entire life has said that.
It's like real fast. I mean, it's the exact same.
Yeah.
Exact same thing. Yeah, it all makes sense to me, man. I'm with it.
Yeah, it's weird how it changes state to state.
And it's interesting, though, because of globalization, like regional dialect is becoming more homogenized because we're all experiencing the same shit all at the same time. And that's one of the interesting things about the urban legends we'll get in after a little bit, is how like I almost am willing to bet now that you had some variation of the same urban legends, but they happened in your area.
Probably.
It's weird. I found one that I swore like was right up the road from my house. And then it turns out everybody thinks the exact same thing.
It is right up for their house.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, I think we're good on levels. Check for me real quick.
Check just levels?
Yeah, you're perfect.
Is that good right there?
Yep. Just wanted to make
sit back
sure.
Farther.
No, you're good. All right. Got my dossier. Dossier, that's one that I don't ever hear people say. I think that's the same as a docket.
I think they're different.
Let's see what a dossier is.
A dossier is, I forget the word. We looked this up the other day at work or someone. I did this with someone literally like 2 weeks ago.
It's a collection of documents about a particular person, event, or subject, where a docket is, God, I mean, maybe just one document?
Yeah. So a dossier is multiple dockets?
I don't know, because this says a calendar or list of cases for trial or people having cases pending, a document or label listing the contents of package or delivery. I don't know why I've been calling this thing a docket. I heard somebody else do it. Let's see. I mean, you've heard like outlines referred to as dockets, right?
Yeah.
I'm starting to question myself at this point. I'm like, what?
I think a docket's right. I think if you called it a dossier, it'd be wrong.
That
dossier
would be inaccurate.
Like a booklet of stuff.
All right. English lessons on People Are Terrible. That's what they tune in for, I'm sure.
This is all the podcast before the podcast that never makes it in. It's actually good stuff, I'm telling you.
Yeah. Some of this might make it in. We had some good talks. From here, it's all downhill. Like once there's pressure put on it, and it becomes
And there's an
official.
actual show.
Yeah.